So who's queuing up the GameStop power packs? Cause your boy ready to rip, man.
I know, what a thrill that was
Dude, I
last
am
week, huh?
still riding that high of watching Larry rip those packs, man. That was the coolest thing ever. I'm serious about like we as Jelly. If we can still get into the beta, let's get into it. But once that actually officially launches and goes out to the public, that is going to be dangerous, not only for us, but that's going to be dangerous for the entire, I think the entire, but I think in
Yeah,
like a good way and a bad way. It's going to be fun for, like you said, the people who like to gamble on cards. That's what a fun way to gamble because if you lose, you sell the card and get some of the money
yeah,
back and
I
then toss it onto something else. It's like playing the corners in roulette, man. You're not losing like everything. You're not going to win a lot, but you're not losing everything.
that's why I think it's bad. I mean, it's good for GameStop that they're gonna make a lot of money, and I guess if that's what people want, then it's good for the consumer too. But I just, not that I'm against gambling, because I know we all have fun with gambling, and occasionally we'll dabble, but it just seems like, power packs aside, we've talked about how the trading card hobby is diving deeper into it being like a gambling hobby more than anything else, and power packs is just going to exacerbate that.
Well, and that's my point, but it's giving people in the hobby something else now to be like excited about. So it's going to keep the energy levels high. Like people are, it's going to keep people in the hobby. It's going to keep the hobby thriving because now it's giving them something else. Like, hey, instead of like John said, instead of spending $1,000 on a box of wax, why don't you just toss $1,000 on this diamond pack and maybe you can hit a Skyridge Hollow Charizard in a PSA 9. Or like I sent those videos to you guys in the chat of I was watching one channel. He ripped $2,000 packs back to back. One was that like 642 was the offer that PSA made, and then the other one was eight something. So I mean, he lost like close to like $600 on the.
But then compare that to when I don't keep track of it. I know we have our inventory spreadsheet and like all that good stuff, but compare that to
A
boxes that we've
four
ripped of
thousand
baseball or
dollar
basketball
case.
or,
Yeah. Uh-huh.
yeah, and how much of that money did we make back? All of it? Sometimes we made money, sometimes we didn't. But with the power packs, if, like, using your example, if this dude had a $650 offer and then 800 and whatever, it's a loss, but I'm just, compare that, like I said, compare that to ripping wax. What's what's better? I don't know.
Well, let me before we run this intro, would you would you rather spend $4,000 on four diamond packs, or you rather spend $4,000 on a case of Bowman Draft? Because you're the man who likes to rip packs.
Yeah. I mean, I'm kind of thinking I'd probably rather spend it on the diamonds, but this could also like bring the price of wax down, so that could be good.
That can be good, and
I
hopefully it
actually don't
does.
know how much. I actually don't know how popular this is gonna be, because like, I mean, how much of the hobby is like pretty like online?
Yeah, that's
Feels
actually a
like
good
you have to be
question.
pretty on.
Yeah.
Feels like you got to be kind of like online to know about this, or like be privy to like know how to do it. And maybe I'm being ageist or whatever, or coming off ageist, but I'm thinking like they're gonna, if this goes live, they're gonna have to like limit users 5 draws a day or something, because there's no way to sustain the inventory. If this goes live to every single degenerate that wants it, they can just go and go and go and go and go. Like
Yeah.
Larry went on a bender, but there's going to be people who actually go on benders.
Actually, yeah. So now that you're saying that out
Like
loud, that
they're
just
going to
got me thinking
have
about how
to,
how I know we've talked about how easy this whole process is, but it's even easier than I realized, because
yes,
think
it's
about
clicking.
think about like if you buy something on Target.com or Walmart or Amazon, you have to add it to your cart, then go to your cart and select the shipping method, and then maybe a few other clicks, and then you're done. Power packs, it's like 3 clicks.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing.
Click what option you want, click buy pack, and then click whatever the hell you want to do with it.
Right. Yeah. Auction,
And they
send to
offer you
me,
free
or
storage.
buyback.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
With free
PSA
storage
vault,
if you
man.
want it. It's like,
Store it
yeah,
in the
they'd
PSA
have to.
vault, and you don't even have to worry about buying shoe boxes, hard cases for your graded slabs. Honestly, I personally think it's going to change the game. But, Luke, let's run that intro. Okay, so I did want us to talk about the PSA buyback program because I think this is a great way that we can piggyback off of last week's episode, like we were just talking about with these GameStop power packs. I truly think this PSA buyback program is really going to change the game. And like I said, I think it's going to change the game for a lot of people who potentially don't like to sell their own cards, or maybe they don't have their own eBay profile. They don't frequent card shows. It's a great way that they can just buy cards, send them off to get graded. If it's a profit, they can just simply allow PSA to buy it and get that money back. I think it's going to make it a lot easier for people who just don't have the means to like sell their own cards, or maybe potentially don't really care to set up an eBay platform or an eBay account and sell their cards that way, buy shipping supplies. But I also think it could be potentially really bad for a lot of us resellers, a lot of the bigger consignment companies out there. PSA is already now the number one grader in the hobby. Now they have their own consignment part of their company. They partnered with eBay, and now you're doing a buyback program where you're buying cards from people right off the bat, from them sending them off and getting graded, or they're doing these power packs where now they can just simply click a button and they can consign with PSA, and PSA does the whole listing, and voila, you didn't even have to do anything. You don't even have to have the card in hand. And I personally think that might be like, what's that going to mean for people like DC Sports, who's probably now the number one, I think the number one consigner for sports cards or in trading cards on eBay. Was that going to mean for Probstein, who just started their own selling platform, or PC Sports, or even some now? What is that going to mean for some of the major auction houses? If PSA can just simply do everything and you don't even have to have that card back in hand, what is that going to do for everybody else in the hobby, if that made sense?
I agree. Yeah, no, it does make sense. I agree. I don't know if it would make all of the other resellers lose their businesses entirely, but for all the reasons that you just said, like it's so easy to do these power packs. As a consumer, one might think, well, why am I going to go to Probstein's website? Why am I going to buy something off of eBay and then wait for it to come in the mail and then send it out to PSA to grade it, when I could just do it all in one place on GameStop's website?
Well, you also might be looking for something. That's what Power Packs doesn't really replace.
True, but
Like,
even
this is just for degenerates. So this is why, like, I don't know how big of a like dent of the market it's going to be, but it's going to make a lot of money, and it's easy money.
But even remove the power packs. I mean, PSA, you can now send your cards to get graded with PSA, and I think depending on the value of the card, you can click the option of having them either consign it for you to where you don't have to have that card come back, or your grades pop, and then right then and there is an offer that PSA will just buy it back. So if you're hitting profit on a card, why wouldn't you just let PSA buy it?
Yeah, I would.
Instead of you come, and that's why I'm saying it might hurt people like resellers like us, because like, why wouldn't how are we going to compete against PSA when they're just buying up cards left and right? And I think what I saw online is that they might be buying at like 90% of the cards, like of the market value for that card, which if you see in a lot of videos and a lot of people talk about it, a lot of buyers buy at 80%. So is PSA being
Yeah.
smart and saying, hey, everybody else is doing 80%. we'll go ahead and do 90%, and they're just gonna sell their car to us.
Yeah, they're just undercutting the competition, and they're probably not worried about it because if they if they do that buyback option X amount of times, eventually they're gonna pay for their card. And then when somebody finally decides to keep it or put it up for auction and they've recycled that card enough times and have it paid for, then that's just, like it's all money in the bank for GameStop.
Or and PSA. Like, because if you're not going
Yeah,
through the
yeah.
GameStop Power Patch, like, I mean, we can still open up we grade with PSA. If we opened up a whole case of booster boxes or a whole case of, Bowman Draft, and all our best cards we're gonna send out to PSA and have them get graded, I mean, we can simply just be like, "Hey, you know what, PSA, go ahead and, whatever PSA offers us, if it's profit, we're gonna take it, and we're just gonna get our money back," you know? And that's what I'm saying. I'm like, it's going to potentially, I think, I don't know, are they monopolizing the hobby now by doing this buyback program and becoming, and you don't even have to like touch these cards anymore. That's the craziest thing. You don't even have to have these cards in hand anymore in order to make profit off of it or to make money off.
Unless, like Eric mentioned, if you're looking for something specific, which maybe they somehow work that into their power pack model. Maybe you do like a Wembenyama only power pack, selection where you could spend $25 for anywhere from base to maybe different kind of parallels, and then your $1,000 diamond packs would obviously include, or more likely include, more rare cards. So that's the only way, at least off the top of my head, that they can include like the, in air quotes, searching for a specific card, whether it's a player or a certain Pokemon or a certain expansion in Pokemon TCG. I think they can get there.
Well, what do you think is going to happen when they do add? Because I remember Larry saying that they're eventually going to add other sports. So right now it's only Pokemon and football. Like, what do you think is going to happen when they add baseball into it? When they add basketball, I'm assuming they'll probably end up getting basketball first, maybe before baseball.
It's just going to attract more gamblers. And like I said, when you want to somehow bridge the gap from the gamblers to the true collectors, that's when you can maybe do like prescribed power packs at the player level, at the Pokemon level, at the Yu-Gi-Oh monster level, whatever.
So I think I sent it to you guys too. I saw that one video. It was a King of Cards video, and he was at a card show, and he was looking at a specific card at a vendor table, and he asked that, I think it was a Wemby card, and he asked that seller, "Okay, what do you have this priced at?" And his first response was, "Well, PSA offered me 3,300 for the card." So he said, "So that's the starting number." He said, "I'll go 35 if you want the."
Wait, you said PSA offered 33?
He said PSA already offered me 33 for it. So basically, it
33.
was like, if you want the card, you got to go higher than what PSA already offered me. So I'm like, is this now the new norm in the hobby? Are people now, when you're at card shows, are they just going to be like, well, you know what? PSA already offered me on this card. So if you truly want this card, you gotta give me 100% of market value. Because if PSA is already at 90%, you gotta give me 95%, or you gotta come at market value in order for me to make this deal. Now, obviously, that seller in the video came down, probably more so because, it's King of Cards, like, he's a big time name in the hobby, but I'm assuming if he's saying PSA offered me 3,300 on it, there's probably not too many sellers that are gonna take less than 33 if that offer's already on the table from PSA. So, like, what is that now gonna mean for the hobby, for you trying to sell your cards? There's no way you're getting a card anymore potentially at 80%. You're gonna have to almost pay market value now because PSA's coming in, and like you said, like, they're almost like undercutting the rest of us, or they're forcing the rest of us now have to pay more money.
That's s- so that's two things. One, paying market value for a card isn't necessarily a bad thing. I mean, that's ideally, you should pay market value for almost anything you buy. But then number two, if that market value is influenced by a big player like PSA, that's where we will get fucked, because the market value isn't necessarily determined by guys like you and me and Eric and John and Larry and this guy and that guy, just kind of like, normal guys, normal money. If it's also determined by PSA or whatever else other company that wants to add it to their inventory, if they start up a similar service, then obviously like that's going to raise the market value, which is good for people selling the cards, but sucks for us. So I don't know if I'm not really saying it's a bad thing or it's a good thing. With all this stuff, I'm just kind of like sitting back and waiting, and I'm gonna see what happens.
Yeah, it was just, it was very interesting to me when I heard that seller go, well, PSA already made me an offer. Like there's already offer on the table. And I think for PSA's buyback program, I think it's only like a 24-hour limit that you have to like to accept these offers. Like it doesn't just sit there forever. Like you got to basically
Right.
decide, okay, if you want, if you want to buy this or not. So like Eric, like what do you think about that? What do you think, like if you're at a card show and you're going, okay, I'm interested in buying this card, what's your bottom dollar? And they go, well, I already have an offer on it. So if you want this, you got to go higher than that. How are
Well,
you
if I
supposed
can
to,
go
how are you
higher,
supposed to, how are you supposed to haggle with, haggle prices or wheel and deal anymore when now you have to, you're competing against PSA's offer?
you say, all right, man, well, why didn't you take that deal? Walk away. It's just like, all right, well, you should have taken that deal. Walk away. And then
But yeah,
I
but
walk
like,
away and
how
I
do you
just
feel
carry on
about
with my
having
life.
to, yeah, how do you feel about having to compete against like PSA as a company now? Like you as a buyer and as a resell, like we have our own card business. Like now we have to, because we have to think about the business minds, the business part of Jelly cards. And if we're trying to buy a card in order to resell that card, that's like the whole point of why people are doing 80%. But now PSA's coming in at 90%, and now you have to compete against that 90%, from a
I guess
business
I'll just wait
standpoint.
for that is that going to become is that going to become the norm, or is that just like one guy
I'm afraid it's
who's
eventually
like
going to
using it?
become the norm now.
Well, then I guess we'll see what happens. I mean, I don't know. Then you'll probably have less interest in people going to shows, and the shows will suffer, and then the shows will be like, yo, what the heck? And then they'll have to figure out how to adjust from there.
See, and that's
So
my
I
point
just
is
like,
like
I don't know. They're just
yeah.
going to do what they're going to do. So
That's why I feel
just
like
got
it
to
has such a
figure it out.
negative, like it's a potential, like a negative effect on the hobby. Like I can understand if PSA is trying to do this for the purpose of, these power packs or repacks, because Jeff Wilson now has those repacks and he has a partnership with PSA. So I'm assuming those cards are coming directly from PSA's buyback program where they're buying and putting them in these boxes and then handing these boxes out for people to buy them. So now it's like you're kind of being forced to have to pay more money to try to get cards in order to try to, sell them for your own business. Or like you said, you have to just walk away and from, potentially some good deals.
Or you're just, the time when you sell is just a little bit further out. I mean, you just got to know who you're picking or what you're picking. If I have to pay more up front and if I but if I pick the right guy, it doesn't really matter. The money will come back.
Do you think that's a good idea for businesses to just go ahead and just accept PSA's offer and operate that way versus like trying to sell on their own?
Undercutting, or like what Larry was saying, like their valuation was lower than what the actual value, like didn't he live comp one of them like last one? He said like PSA says it's 240, but the last one sold for like 3.
Yeah, I looked it
So they
up on
might still be
eBay and
trying
then
to like,
yeah.
still might be trying to pull fast ones on people that way. So if you still kind of know, I'm sure you can. But yeah, I guess we'll just have to see. Their PSA is going to,
That wouldn't be good. Well, I keep saying,
well, I
I
mean,
think
that's
of
what they're going to,
yeah,
how else are they going to get singles inventory?
yeah.
Like,
I
Like
mean,
raw, you mean?
yeah, like how else are they going to start getting inventory? They're going to have to either start breaking or like, I don't know, like ripping product themselves.
why would they need, like, raw cards? Why would PSA need raw cards?
to grade at their
So
company
you're
that they own.
No, what I'm saying is you think that they're gonna start grading, like, their own cards. Like, PSA is gonna buy
Yeah,
raw
they're gonna
cards,
have to.
and then
Yeah.
they're just gonna grade their own cards and then turn around and
How serious are they gonna like? They're gonna have to start like employ buyers who are going out and buying raw cards, like sending their graders out to shows to buy up raw cards to grade. If they're serious about this power pack thing, then they can't just rely on people to sell them their cards. They're gonna have to go out and get their own cards too. Now I don't know what that like. I don't know how that would work with like fraud. They could just like really, 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 really manipulate the market that way. So, but they already kind of are, I guess, or could because people are already sending in their raw cards. So, but if they already owned them, then I guess they could really manipulate the market.
I feel
I
like
don't
they're
know.
just doing
I
that
was
right
just
now
like, how
anyways.
serious are they going to be about the power packs thing? Like, if they're going to open this to like Gen Pop, they're going to have X what their current inventory is. If Larry said like they're slow dripping beta users, there's no way to sustain the Gen Pop. They would open it, have to immediately close it, unless they have like some sort of process to backfill their inventory constantly, not just relying on people being like, yeah, you can have my card back.
Yeah, true. Because how many times is that going to happen?
Yeah, there's just like so many options. So, and just people who would want to do this.
Yeah, real quick, because before we get into show and tell, I just remembered something that John put in the group chat. Because when I was talking to him about it with the PSA buyback program, he brought up about the group submitters. You know how we heavily use Nash cards to submit our cards for grading to PSA. But if Nash Cards doesn't give you the option to do the buyback program or give you the option to like consign with PSA because they're a group submitter, do you think that's going to hurt third party submitters and have people just like, hey, we're no longer going to submit our cards through you. We're just going to go directly to PSA because we want to consign with PSA or we want to get the offers from PSA. Like if we send our cards through Nash to PSA and then he sends them back, we're never getting that offer potentially, if you get what I'm saying.
So you're saying that if I as an individual send one raw card to PSA directly, part of their process is to, as soon as the grade pops, make me an offer.
Yeah, that's how I believe it is. I know when you look up.
So then if I go through a group submitter, then what you're saying is I don't have that option because it's really the group submitter that has the direct touch point with
Yeah, because
PSA.
because what you're doing when you fill out a submission with a group submitter, you're just basically filling out the cards info and then what your declared value is, and then they're doing all the work and sending it to PSA. So how are you still getting all those same options through a group submitter that you would if you just directly sent it to PSA? Like, do I still get that option to accept offers from PSA? Do I still have that option to consign my cards directly with PSA through the PSA vault if I'm going through a group submitter?
Hmm,
Or do I
those
have
are
to
good
do it
questions.
directly through PSA? Because that then could hurt the third party group submitters.
Yeah. Those are good questions. Yeah, I don't. That's already in place though, right? Like the PSA already has those options available for individuals. So I'm curious what group submitters do now. I mean, they're still in business, so it must not be a
Yes, they
problem for
must
them.
have it. I have never done it, and the John raised the question, so I'm curious to see if I don't know when like the last time he's submitted an order with through Nash or with another group submitter. So I'm curious to see like how that process is. But we've been talking a lot about PSA cards. We've been talking a lot about the PSA buyback. Let's do some show and tell, because then I do want to talk about the potential sale of Panini and what that's gonna mean in the hobby. But let's see some
All
cards.
right. Okay, I'll go first. I don't have any PSA slabs today. I'm showing raw cards. I have 6 of them. I know it's a lot, but I'll go fast. So this first card, so we like showing gifts. It's common that we include a card that was a gift in show and tell. So this one is a first edition Team Rocket Diglett. It was a gift from Larry, my brother. He got it at a flea market nearby 2 weekends ago, I think. So it's a card that I needed. So adding that to my pile of first edition Pokemon cards. Then the next 5, I'm going to kind of go rapid fire here. These were all from Collecticon that was in Rosemont, Illinois, maybe a month back. I bought 100 cards, 100 raw cards. Yeah, all first edition Pokemon. And I'll show these all back to back. And I'm selecting these 5 because they're the hits, in my opinion. So this first one is a Jungle Hollow
Sweet.
Venomoth first edition. Camera's not so good, so you have to
Very
bear with me on
underrated
the grainy.
Pokemon, Venomoth is.
You love all the
I might honestly, if I was in the game, I would probably be like a bug guy.
yeah, I know you would. Yeah, you'd be a
I'd be the
bug
one. I
breeder.
would be the one that gets squashed like right away at the beginning of the game.
Squashed with honor, though. This next one is a Jungle non-hollow first edition Vaporeon. This next one is a fossil first edition non-hollow Zapdos. Second to last one here is a fossil non-hollow first edition Aerodactyl.
One of the first hollow
And
cards I've ever had as a kid.
speaking of hollow, this one's the belle of the ball. This one was my biggest pickup from Collecticon. It is a fossil hollow first edition pre-release
I was
Aerodactyl.
gonna say, does it have a stamp on it?
Yeah, it's the pre-release.
It does. I know my camera's not great, but you could see it in the bottom corner here, pre-release. And I'll tell the quick story on this one, how I got it. So there was a vendor that was making a huge deal on a couple $1,000s worth of slabs. I think he was buying slabs from somebody that paid to go to Collecticon, and this guy was clearly adding to his inventory. So when he was buying for that much money, I happened to spot this pre-release Aerodactyl in one of his binders that he had. I didn't even know that this was a card, honestly. So I'm glad that I saw it, and I think he had it listed for 50, I want to say. And I was thinking, since this guy was doing such a big deal with all these slabbed cards, I offered him half that, and I think we settled on 30 or 35. No, actually, sorry. It was listed for 26. I was way off. I actually have this sticker here. It's listed for 26. I think I got it for like $10 off or something like that.
Damn,
So
nice.
I was really happy with the buy. And what's interesting is that on the full list of first edition Pokemon, all by Wizards of the Coast, there's a couple that are like non-standard, this pre-release being one of them. And there's a couple other kind of weird non-standard cards. Like there's a handful of different first edition Machamps. There's like a Cosmos Hollow. There's a 1998, 1999 Machamp first edition Hollow. So this is like one of the handful that's not just a straightforward first edition card, and I'm glad I got it.
Buy that Venomoth.
All right, who's
off
up
you, man.
next? Yeah, who wants to go next?
Sick.
Yeah, the
Your
Infernal
wait,
X,
Yori.
Dugong, full art.
Isn't that the English one's coming out in Phantasmal Flames though, right?
Yeah, this is the Infernal X Japanese one.
Yeah. Yeah, that card's sick, man. It's cool that Dugong's finally getting another card.
Yeah, finally got some respect.
Hey, what about your Pokemon man, Politoed, man? Politoed getting no love.
Yeah, he's the next. Yeah, maybe next. I don't know. I feel like there's like a lot of Gen 2 that gets no love. Everybody hates him.
You don't.
Yeah, it's
it's
true.
actually
You were
true.
big on Politoed.
But it's also true. Like you don't see too many Gen 2 Pokemon like
Except
showing
Umbreon,
up.
I guess.
Well, yeah, I guess. Yeah, but
Like,
that's only
I guess, the
because
biggest one.
Umbreon can beat Mewtwo.
Yeah, that's why.
And Mew.
Yeah.
Jason loves that. He's a big Umbreon guy.
Umbreon's a tank, man. Absolute
Do you
tank.
like all the evolutions or just Umbreon?
I mean, as a kid, like I really liked them. Like Jolteon was one of my favorites as a kid playing the game. Like especially playing, what was it, Leaf Green? I tended to always get Jolteon when I was able to get Eevee. And what was it, Celadon City, when you would get Eevee in the game? So, but Umbreon, yeah, Umbreon's like a tank in the game. I like playing with Dark Poke. They're good to have in the lineup. And yes,
And yeah,
they can beat
people
Mew.
like Umbreon.
And Umbreon would beat Mew Head-to-head battle. Sorry,
I don't
Eric.
know.
No,
Well,
I
now,
didn't,
man,
but it's
damn, I
fine.
wish I had some Pokemon cards to show because I don't have a Pokemon card. I
All
guess
right, what do you got?
I'm just gonna show off my my Michael Jordan slab here.
Oh, hell yeah.
PSA 8, so nothing crazy, but it's Jordan,
Who
so
cares?
yeah, who cares, man? It's Jordan, man. It's a PSA 8 1996 Fleer metal Michael Jordan card.
Oh,
Surprisingly,
nice.
this is the first Michael Jordan slab that I've ever bought for my own collection. And I can't believe that. Can't believe it took me this long to finally get a I have a raw card of his USA Olympic one that I bought from Ken's store out in Indiana. But this card I think I paid $25 for it or something like, or $20. I can't remember. I was just
Nice.
at a
That's
yeah.
from where? From eBay or?
No, I was at a hobby shop. It was just at a card shop.
Okay,
Yeah, local
cool.
card shop. It was sitting in there and I was like, "Oh my god." Like I think they had it listed for 30. Yeah, I think they had it listed for 30. I asked for 20 and they were like, "Yeah, we'll do 20." And I was like, "Done." That's an easy buy.
Wow, nice.
Yeah.
Nice, yeah. Damn, I wish you didn't show that. That's Pokemon first edition Pokemon cards and MJ cards are my 2 weak spots, and now I'm worried that I'm gonna go on a bender
And buy some Jordans.
and dude, during COVID, it was bad.
Oh, I
Nightly just
remember your buying during the COVID times, man. When we first started, man, you got pretty bad. Luke, do you understand? You almost sent your entire Pokemon collection to GMA.
yeah,
It would have been a
yeah.
one of one. One of
I,
one
They would
collection.
all been pop one, man.
Yeah.
Like you were so close to sending your entire Pokemon collection to GME, to GMA.
I
That was a legit thing you almost did.
yes. I even got
Can I ask you if you're happy that you did not do that?
yes.
And no offense to GMA, no, but like just the way
Yeah, it's
PSA turned out.
not even for that. If the question was, are you happy that you didn't send it to PSA? If I was thinking about PSA, actually I would have because at the time,
It's
my
cheap.
God, so off topic, but when John first reinfected us with collecting cards, and this might even been just before the COVID pandemic, but I remember PSA was running a special on any Pokemon card. It was either $7.50 or
Man,
$9.50.
I remember
Uh,
that.
yeah,
Yeah, I remember how cheap it
per
was. That's
card.
right.
And I was new to obviously not new to collecting cards, but new to grading. I had only been familiar with graded comic books at the time. I had no idea about graded trading cards. So not that it was scary or anything, but I was thinking like, okay, this is $7.50. Like that price makes sense to me. It seems like a good price if the price is normally $10 or whatever it is, or $12 or whatever it was at the time. And I just wish that I had my brain today, at least just for that aspect, because realizing how good of a deal that was, it's crazy. So I don't even know how much, like, I haven't subbed anything in a very long time. So I don't know how much a PSA sub costs these days.
Definitely
What is it,
not
like
seven
22 bucks or
dollars and
something?
50 cents anymore. That's for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
At one point, it was
Yeah.
12.
So
Like I remember sending some of mine at $12 a card.
yeah.
And I wish I would have sent way more cards, like even just my own personal ones, not to resell, just to so I had them slabbed. Because now I think, yeah, I think it's like almost like you're probably gonna pay close to like $20 a card now, which it still is not bad. But if you're sending, you know, 50
I don't
cards,
know.
like that's like, then yeah, it's gonna add up.
20 bucks is I know there's been a lot of inflation and prices on pretty much everything are very different compared to 5, 6 years ago, but $20 is kind of steep. It's more than double, you know, than what that offer was that I referenced. Um, I don't know. I'm just thinking like if I have a stack of cards, if I have 40 cards and I wanna grade them, that's a lot of money. That's $800. It just feels like too much for plastic and a little label at the top. and some data behind it.
Yeah, but
But
it's
the counter
the
argument
authentication.
is, okay, well then, like, yeah, like, okay, then don't get it graded, and you have a raw card and you could save the $20. That's what I'm doing right now. Eventually, I think I might get my Pokemon collection graded, but we'll see.
Yeah, there's a few cards in my own personal collection that I'm still looking to send. I want to send off my Dragonite, my fossil Dragonite. It's not a first edition, but it's just the hollow version. So I want to send that one off because that was one of the first hollow cards that I had as a kid. One of my favorite ones. Like I always, just as a kid, I always took it out of my binder and just looked at it. Like that was just
Eric, isn't that one of your favorite cards too?
Which one?
the
The
fossil
fossil
Dragonite hollow.
Oh
Dragonite?
yeah, because I pulled that in the Japanese booster once. Yeah,
Yeah, there you go.
yeah.
Yeah, that's
That's the
one
only.
of
It's
my
like the only
favorites.
one of.
Do you still have it?
Graded. Yeah, I have it graded.
Nice.
I'm already having seller's remorse selling my Mega Evolution cards. I really actually wish I started selling some of them, and then I kept the ones that I was like, okay, you know what? These are my favorite ones. I like the artwork, so I'm gonna keep these ones. But I'm now starting to think like I might have maybe jumped the gun on selling some of my Mega Evolution cards, especially the Mega Promo Gengar that I had in as Gengar in the white version. I'm like, "Damn, I should have held on." I probably sold that card way too soon because I think it's already
I wish I
doubled.
could make you feel better about that, but I agree with you.
Yeah,
You
yeah, man. You know
might
what?
have
I don't
sold too
even
early.
I saw the prices and I went, "You know what? I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna use that money to, like, buy other cards for my for like more Beedrill cards or more Lycanroc, like cards that I want." But then I'm like, damn, now I see that card showing up on like people's videos a ton, and I'm like, I had that card, and I'm pretty sure I bought it for like $8 when I got it, and now I think that card's
That's
like,
why John tells you to hang on to them.
I know, man, and it was a big mistake. I should have never have sold that one. I mean, at least some of my other mega ones went to a buddy that I work with, and he's like he's a big Pokemon collector. So I'm okay that I sold those cards
Oh,
because I
okay,
know
yeah,
they
you can
went to him. Yeah,
feel
they
good about
went to
that.
him.
I went to a good home.
They're chilling in a binder. He really likes the mega cards. I had ones that he didn't have, so I was happy about that. But yeah, the other one that Mega Gengar I sold on eBay, and I'm like, I should have kept that one. But I
Special
still got my Mega
generation.
Houndoom. I still got my Houndoom. I still got my Mega Pidgeot, the Blastoise that John found me. So I still got some of them, and I think Mega
Nice.
Steelix. I kept the Mega Steelix one because I think Steelix is starting to become one of my favorite Pokemon. Yeah, I think the Steelix cards that they keep coming out with are just so badass, man.
Yeah. Yeah, there's some
Yeah.
cool full art Steelixes
Yeah. But real
or like
quick,
half
because yeah,
art, whatever you call those.
we're at 45 minutes here. Real quick, I just want to briefly talk about the Panini stuff because there's a lot of speculation in social media hobby right now about Panini announcing that the company that owns Panini currently right now, I believe, has announced that they're looking for potential buyers to sell that company. Obviously, we know Panini, they just lost the license to the NBA. They're about to lose the license in March to the NFL. So they're pretty much like on the outs of the hobby. Tops and Fanatics are pretty
Would
much.
you guys want to buy Panini? Like if you're the leader of Tops or whatever other
Well, if I'm
company, Upper
Tops,
Deck.
yeah. If I'm Tops or Fanatics, 100% I'm buying that. And like Eric
But
said,
if you're saying that Panini is on the outs,
meaning if they
and
held
if
it
they're
as their
announced,
own, like them as their own brand, they're they can't compete against Fanatics and Tops anymore.
right? So maybe you just wait for them to fold, and then you could.
That's what they're doing.
I mean, if you're buying Panini for the brand, then maybe that's one thing. But if you're buying them for like their people
Well,
and
yeah, like Eric
No,
manufacturing,
said, that's
their
pretty
control,
much what
footprint.
they're doing. Like Panini's at a point where they're not gonna survive the hobby anymore. In
yeah,
And
my
if
their
they're
opinion.
president
announcing they
died.
want to be bought, I feel like that's a cry for help.
Yeah,
Their
true. That
CEO
is
died.
true. Yeah, he did. He did.
So, like, I think that's part of it. CEO died. They lost the license. I think, like,
Oh, I didn't know
weren't
that.
they like, are they filing for bankruptcy or like, is that like a thing or they're just looking to sell off a certain portion of it? I'm sure, like, it's just like cool. I could buy just like a whole bunch of factories that already have a bunch of card printing machines set up. I don't have to buy new machines or any machines.
Yeah,
Like
so
I can just expand my operation.
what they said is they're evaluating strategic options which include a full or partial sale. And then this is coming from Sports Collectors Daily article on it. It does say that Fanatics slash Tops is considered to be an interested party because there was an article that was published. So the company that owns Panini is an Italian company. And so they published an article in an Italian newspaper and they mentioned Fanatics and Tops potentially being a buyer for Panini, which I guess the partial sale of it would, I guess, maybe be similar to how Tops is, where if Fanatics bought Panini, they would allow Panini to operate still as Panini, but they would just fall under the umbrella of Fanatics. Is my guess is why they probably maybe a partial sale. But I mean, Panini still has a lot of ties in the overseas market because they do still have a lot of licenses for soccer cards. But I just don't,
Okay, so
yeah,
like that's got to be why they would buy Panini because I don't know. I wonder what their strategy is. When I
Buy
say they,
everything.
I mean Tops. Yeah, but
Buy
do
everything.
you need to buy a dying company? Unless you're just buying it for their IP.
No, you're buying it because like you can, if you can get all these buildings and everything for nothing.
Yeah, yeah, but I think the supply they throttle their own supply. Like if they print 1 billion cards per year, they could print 2 billion. I think they just don't because of your, very fundamental, supply and demand microeconomics theory. I'm sure they can print more cards if they wanted to. So I don't think they necessarily need more factories. And
I
how
just
much
like
can
it would
Panini
just be
really
so much
print?
easier. That's probably the same as Tops.
So why would they
Control.
increase control of what?
I mean, I don't know, like Fanatics then would own the Tops brand and Bowman under Tops, then they would own Panini.
That's what I'm saying. Like, if they want to buy their IP, that
Yeah.
makes sense. But the fact, like I don't know. I'm talking out of my ass here, but I would guess that if Topps wanted to print double the cards today, they would. But another guess is that they don't want to because that increases the supply, demand goes down. They don't have the same revenue as a result. That's what I'm guessing. Is I think if they buy Panini, it's like for their IP and licenses and stuff.
it would just be for the
Yeah,
rest
and
of the licenses. Yeah.
which has got to be cheap because they've already stripped them of everything they're worth, which is why
Yeah.
Upper Deck should do it. So then at least Upper Deck and whatever Panini could team up and
Yeah, tell your boy, Mr. President of
Hey,
Upper Deck.
he's for us, man. If he bought Panini,
Yeah,
he'd be doing it for us. Okay?
he's Eric, he's for us.
He's
We.
my boys.
Hey, if he but that would actually be pretty crazy if Upper Deck did end up buying out Panini and being able to like I don't but here's the thing. Would it be smart for Upper Deck to do that versus like Fanatics? If Fanatics did it, it makes sense because Fanatics has Tops. They're acquiring all these license. I didn't even realize that like or not that I didn't realize it, but you kind of forget, Tops also still does F1. They have Topps Chrome, they have F1 international market. They have the WWE international market. They also do European soccer and German soccer. They have those license for it as well. So it's like if they
So
were to
what is
Panini still has I was trying to read the article and I thought it said it in the article. What the article says is this Panini retains an array of trading card licenses across its global operations, with Panini America focusing on US sports, and then they have Panini Group on international soccer, which sells over 5 billion stickers across the globe each year. I don't
Stickers.
necessarily know which ones. I thought it said in here which licenses they still had for certain soccer, but Topps has Premier League. So it's like you have to understand Panini probably does not have the top soccer leagues out for the licenses. Topps has Premier League, they have the European soccer, they have the German soccer. Like it would make more sense for Fanatics to just buy up whatever else Panini has. Panini still has the WNBA as well. So they'd be getting those cards in, which I'm assuming they want to do that with Juju Watkins, with Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark. They probably want all that to come over to Tops as well. I don't see Upper Deck buying Panini and that being a good buy for them going forward. It kind of would feel like that's a waste of money, and that's not going to work out for them if they bought it. Like, I just don't. But I don't know, like, is there another company out there that's gonna buy Panini and be able to do what with them? Like, what else?
Leaf.
What is left for another company to buy Panini? Like, what's left for Panini other than to
But
just
you like
simply?
what is you're saying like what does Panini have to offer?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, what?
Right. I'm wondering the same thing.
I don't know. Why don't they go make Marvel cards or something?
No, I think Tops has Marvel. Yeah, because I think
Just kidding.
DC is with Upper Deck. I want to say, and then Marvel is with Tops. I believe it is. Panini doesn't. I don't think Panini's anything other than strictly sports. Like, I don't think they do any non-sports for Panini. I can't recall if they do or not, but I don't think they do. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not sure what Panini has to offer that would intrigue another company outside of the hobby world to like come in and say, okay, we're going to revamp you. Because if you're looking at it, they're going, well, do you have the license for this? No, no, we don't have that anymore. Well, what about this sport? No, we don't have that. Well, what about this one? No, we don't have that. Are you gonna do, and you're not gonna print unlicensed product, because we all know what happens to unlicensed product in this hobby. It doesn't sell. Nobody gives a shit. You know? Nobody cared about unlicensed baseball product coming from Panini, unless it's Aaron Judge or Otani. But nobody gives a
Yeah.
shit. Like yeah, sure, a Donruss Optic rated rookie Otani card is worth some money. The same with Aaron Judge, but other than that, nobody cares about the rest of those players that are coming out of it. So I don't know what, like, Fanatics makes the most sense to buy Panini, or eventually we're just gonna see Panini go away and they're gonna go buy,
That's fine too. I don't really care. Not hung up about this.
because I can't see
Their
the
cards sucked.
WNBA like carrying Panini.
Quality control at the end was garbage.
Yeah. They didn't even
Garbage.
look like sports cards, man. I mean, you know what? I mean,
Shit.
the Donruss Optic was pretty cool. Like, the Optic cards were cool that they printed. I thought those were cool. Those actually
The
look
rated
like
rookies are
legit.
the best looking cards they
That's
make.
what I'm saying, because they look
And they're-
like
and they're
actual
pa-
cards.
Yeah. Yeah, and they're paper, and so nobody cares.
But what if Fanatics does buy Panini and they allow them to operate like similar how they do with Tops? Like, now you just have two major companies in the hobby taking over everything. You got PSA doing all what they're doing. You got Fanatics doing what they're doing. And then now the entire hobby is going to be ran, or at least the sports card hobby is going to be basically ran by Fanatics and PSA. They're going to just
I think
take over.
that's happening regardless of what happens to Panini.
Yeah. It's just, you're
Are you
seeing.
saying like right now it's Tops, Panini, Upper Deck?
Yeah, Panini was doing a really
And
good job in being able to compete against until Fanatics came in and said, "Okay, we're getting these licenses." Panini. I mean, up until that point, Panini was beating out Tops because they had all the major licenses. They had the most important sports. Now it doesn't matter.
Tops has most of them.
Tops has now basically almost all of them, except for the WNBA. They are, and that's why.
I know. I remember reading on their website they have like 7 lines of business. Trading cards is one of them. They do like stickers and magazines and shit.
Yeah,
But
it says in the article they do like books.
maybe
like
they
in,
still maybe they still survive off of those lines of business.
How do you survive?
But if we're just talking about Panini trading cards, I don't know. Maybe they just fold that. Who knows? I guess once we stop talking about the trading cards part of Panini, I stop caring. Like Eric.
Well, yeah, like, I mean,
It's
I
like,
didn't
well,
even know that
we're not here to talk about magazines and stickers.
Yeah, Well, the stickers were a big thing because that's like a big thing in like for soccer. Like the stickers for soccer, like
Really?
they sell a
Yeah, it's
shit
weird.
ton of stickers, man. Like,
I
hold on,
haven't.
let me pull up the article again. It
What do
said,
people use stickers
yeah,
for?
they
I
said
haven't.
they sold over 5 billion stickers across the globe each year.
How many?
The stickers are really you can buy
Okay.
the graded stickers too, man.
You could grade them?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah.
People grade those
What the
Merlin
fuck?
stickers for Pokemon, man. I almost bought a Beedrill one and I got outbid.
Wait, Merlin stickers. What is this?
Topps
Merlin?
Merlin for Pokemon stickers. They're just little tiny square stickers and you can get it. Yeah,
Okay, I was thinking of something else.
yeah, yeah, man. You can grade the stickers. You can grade anything, damn near anything.
Speaking of that, Larry sent me a tweet by PSA today that they're not grading Funko Pops anymore. I didn't even know that they graded them, but they're ceasing that service.
I didn't even know they
Did you
graded.
guys know that?
I didn't know
Yeah,
people graded Funko Pops.
I assume they did.
Huh? How
yeah,
can you grade a Funko
they're
Pop?
stopping that.
You can grade anything.
They did.
Yeah, you actually really can grade damn near anything.
You can grade anything.
When are they gonna start grading shoes, man? You think that's gonna end up happening? They're gonna start grading shoes, condition, quality.
I thought that already happens.
Is
No?
that a thing?
I don't know. No, it's not really like a formal thing, but I'm surprised that it's not. I guess it's because there are just enough people who buy them and wear. Like you do, there are like a few that you wouldn't wear, but most of the time you still wear them, even if they're expensive and you can buy them.
Eric over there about to get arrested.
I could think of like, I don't know, if you had like original Jordans from the 80s, maybe you're not wearing those.
Unless you're that dude from that denim shop on the north side.
Yeah, that guy was crazy. Or like if you had the Nike Kanye's, you're probably not wearing those, or the Super Mags, you're probably not wearing those. But like generally, they're wearing their shoes.
Or unless you just buy 2 pairs and then you wear 1 pair and then you keep the other one. I mean, I know Logan Paul, I think, does that, but obviously he has the means to do it. I think if he gets a shoe dirty, he just puts them away and he just grabs a new pair and he just wears a new pair.
Yeah, that's wasteful.
Hey, man, but you know what? When you got that money, like we talk about in the chat all the time, man, what would you do if you had all that money? I'd probably do that. I'd have a pair of shoes for every single outfit that I own, man.
Actually, yeah, that's a good teaser, and maybe we should talk about this before we finish. Just quick announcement is that our 3-year podcast anniversary, I think, is in 10 days?
And isn't it the 22nd, I think? I thought it was the
I thought it was
22nd. I
November
might
14th.
shit.
Yeah. Well, okay, we're probably going to release this episode either tomorrow or day after, so
Yeah.
it'll be in 8 or 9 days. So Jason was talking about what would you do if you had all the money in the world? That might be a topic that we talk about on the 3-year anniversary episode. But yeah, keep an eye out for that. We're going to have a 3-year Jelly Cards podcast anniversary episode coming up here soon. I believe, like I said, the anniversary is November 14th, although we'll double check that. So either next week or the week after, we'll have that episode. We'll have special fun topics, and maybe it'll be a little bit longer, just because we're gonna be gabbing. We're gonna be talking about a lot. 3 years, we got to cover a lot.
I can't
So,
believe we've been doing this podcast for 3 years. Like, that's crazy.
yeah, shout out to you and John for starting it.
No, shout out to you guys for stepping in when John can't. It's nice to finally get all 4 of
Yeah,
us on a
John, that
damn episode.
piece of shit that this guy doesn't even
We
fucking
went
show
almost
up.
an entire episode and we didn't rip on John, man. Come on. John's gonna be watching this and going, "Wow, man, they didn't even talk shit about me." Nah, don't you worry, man. We didn't forget.
Yeah, we'll sneak it in there at the end.
We
Yeah,
didn't
you
forget,
fucking
man.
piece of shit.
Also, hey, speaking of November 14th, not only is it the 3-year anniversary of the Jelly Cards podcast, but Phantasmal Flames comes out that day too.
Oh,
So, man, that's a big day. Are people gonna, want to go out and get Phantasmal Flames, or are they gonna want to celebrate Jelly's podcast anniversary?
I think people are gonna be staying up late in the night for the release of the Jelly Cards
They
podcast
are,
episode.
man. I might have to release that
try
at
put my
midnight.
money.
Usually
By
I
the
do it
way-
at 3:30 in the morning because I know that's when John's up. So Chuck could listen to it right away.
By the way, really quick before
Mm-hmm.
we finish here, according to the Apple Podcasts app, the first episode was on November 14th, 2022. So I guess, Jason, I'll leave it to you to corroborate that, because I know you post it on a few different platforms, but
No, yeah,
I
if
believe it's
that's
the
what,
14th.
yeah, if that's what it says, then that's the first one. Because
Okay, there
yeah,
it
if
is,
because
folks. Keep
I set it up so where it could be on both Spotify and Apple right away.
All right, next week Friday, 3-year anniversary episode.
Yep. Man, time's flying, man. Time is flying for the Jelly Card group, man. It's time's flying for the Jelly Cards podcast. I really appreciate you guys coming on the episode, talking some PSA buyback, talking some Pokemon, showing some slabs, ripping on Panini. Panini's over with, done with.
Pretty much.
Hey, and we'll have to we got to schedule a day, man, to live rip a diamond pack, man.
Yeah.
No, we 100% need to. And I'm talking, I think we should do more than just one diamond pack. Like we can't
Yeah.
just live
Do
rip
6.
one pack and then be like, okay, we're done. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because imagine if we don't hit. Imagine if we rip it and it's like half the value. Oof.
Yeah,
That would
man.
hurt.
You know
Yeah,
what?
what do you mean if?
We
When?
gotta talk amongst
Can't
each
not
other,
miss.
figure out an amount that we're gonna spend, and we're gonna rip a couple packs, man. And we're gonna hit that PSA 9 Hollow Skyridge Charizard, man. It's gonna happen, and we're gonna do it live.
Yep, we're a gambling podcast now.
Hey, man, everybody, yeah, we try to act all innocent, but nah, we're, like Eric said, we're degenerates. We are 100% degenerates. And if you enjoy listening to our degenerate selves, you can follow us on all of our social media platforms. We have Instagram, we got Twitter, we got Facebook, we have YouTube. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Give us a rating on both Apple and Spotify. Follow the podcast on both those platforms. You'll make John very, very happy.
Hey, thanks for listening. Tune in next week on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcasts for the 3-year anniversary episode. It's going to be a fun one. It'll be a long one, but no but. That's it. See ya.